Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. I probably did a little bit of a preview there at the start of the video. Looking at how we did last week. Last week was my very first attempt at fighting the Hydra on Nightmare difficulty on my account. Before this, I'd never done it, but I switched over to a higher clan in my clan cluster. And yeah, I'm trying out Nightmare Hydra now, and the first week didn't go so well. To give you a recap of how we did, we got 14.4 million overall that first week trying Nightmare Hydra. It was enough for the Guardian chest reward from Nightmare, but it wasn't enough to get the Master or the Grandmaster, the two Nightmare chest exclusives. And if you watch my video about the rewards on Hydra, you'll know that when you get up to that Master chest, and especially that Grandmaster chest, that the rewards for Hydra really start to get good, at least in terms of the gear that you're going to be getting. So it's well worth trying to get up there, but we were a good bit short, right? This was the first team we did. We did 5.26 million. And remember, I said I was actually fairly impressed with this team. This was a random team I threw in, and I got wiped by accident. But I thought that this worked pretty well. I was very impressed by Lydia and Mother Cybele together, decreasing speed with Mother Cybele and the speed aura, increasing speed with Lydia. The best team I had last week was this team, which did 6.62. That was my best key week one. 6.62 million on Nightmare. And this team I had used as my one key team for hard difficulty. So this team can one key normal, it can one key hard actually reasonably well. But when it came up to Nightmare, 6.62 is the most I could get. 20 million on hard, or 20 plus million on hard, going down to 6.62 on Nightmare. And what I felt with this team was that it was relatively difficult to keep the squishier champions alive, and that especially in terms of speed, I felt we were really lacking in that speed, and the heads were just so quick that they were just overrunning us. We couldn't keep up, we couldn't break people free. We've no increased speed with this team, and Tomb Lord is the only decreased speed on its A1. It's nice, but it's not giving you much coverage. And then our final team last week, 2.52 million, was just a random HP burn stuff thrown together. So how do we do this week? How do we switch it up? What has changed? So this is my best team from this week. And this team from this week, the best team, was sort of a combination of the two teams that I put together last week that did reasonably well. It's putting those two together to make something better. What do we have? So we have Mother Cybele in the lead. Mother Cybele is amazing. Speed Aura. 50% chance to put decreased speed AoE on her A1. Really good. You see a rough patch here. Look at that though. Hey, Mother Cybele's A2 gives you increased defense and revive on death. That revive on death is actually fantastic for Hydra. As you just saw right there, I didn't plan that actually. That just worked out well in terms of the timing. But it gives you a ton of safety. It really protects your squishier characters. And it also makes it, for me, it makes it a lot less stressful to actually be testing these teams out and experimenting, because revive on death means that you're not going to get one shot by Head of Wrath, flop your key, and have to go. It gives you that safety blanket, which is very useful. Then her A3 is very good as well, where she swaps HP percentage, puts some HP heal over times on herself or on the target, potentially. But that's really good as well. As just sort of an extra way to heal people, especially with the heal reduction from the Head of Decay, right? It can help you get around that, which is cool. So Mother Cybele is fantastic. Really huge fan of her. I've just been more, as I've gone into Nightmare Hydra, my love for Mother Cybele, which was already high, has gone just higher. I'll show you all the builds at the end of this as well, of course. Then we have Lydia, obviously in here as well. AoE decrease defense and weaken. Brilliant. Increases speed and gives you strengthen on your whole team as well. Fantastic, really good. So that's sort of the trifecta of, well, the duo, the speed duo. Speed aura, decrease speed, and then increase speed as well. So we've got all that going, really good. Lady Kimmy does something similar. I wish I had Lady Kimmy. She's amazing for this as well. She also brings you some decreased accuracy, very useful. But anyway, Lydia gives you another source of block buffs too, which is great. And yeah, she's just fantastic. Then for damage, we have Geomancer and Royal Guard. Geomancer makes us tankier by giving us effectively 15% damage reduction and a lot of single target damage. Royal Guard brings those big AoE damaging nukes with his takedown. Really good. Then we have Rector Wrath and Ugo to help us stay alive, right? Ugo gives us the block buffs, AoE as well, which is also very useful. Ugo gives us a good chunk of extra healing, and I actually found that was quite important. That on my account, with the stats and the gear and the stuff that I have on my account, we were actually quite vulnerable, right? Rector Drath was not able to keep us alive by herself. We definitely needed that extra bit of help from Ugo and from Mother Cybele as well. Then we have Rector Drath in here. She's in here to revive. She's in here to heal. Gives us Perfect Veil too. So she actually, for lower difficulties, this team has you pretty covered as well, right? If Head of Suffering comes in, he doesn't really do anything, so you don't really mind. If Head of Torment comes in, we actually have Perfect Veil from Rector Drath. So we're potentially quite covered on that, right? We can handle pretty much any head that comes in with this team. So yeah, I've been super, super happy with it, especially on this most difficult of rotations. How did this team do in the end? Well, we're going to blast on through. Boom, boom, boom. You can see we're up, we're down, we're all around. Mother Cybele kind of picking herself up a bit at the end, getting up some extra hits. And there we go. We ended the run with 15.34 million damage dealt. Going from last week with the best key of 6.6 million, going up to 15.34 million. I was very, very happy with it. You can see in terms of the champions, we got a bit of damage from Ugo and Lydia. Mother Cybele, with the gear she has on, is kind of churning out an extra bit, but not crazy. But it's Geomancer and Royal Guard with the max HP damage and the deflecting damage that they can do that really give you the damage on these higher difficulties. So that's what we went with. To show you their builds and to talk about what I'll be doing with these champions now, Mother Cybele, these are the stats I have her in, and these are her masteries. She's in Relentless set. Now, I'm actually really happy with that. It works really well. I don't think it's essential, though. I think you could make her work with other sets. So Frenzy set would be good. Guardian set would be good. Broken sets would be good. You know, there's really, just random smaller sets. She's very flexible. I might actually move her out of Relentless, which I really like on her. I think Relentless is really good. I might swap her out of it, maybe, because I don't have that much good Relentless gear. And I think the Relentless gear is going to be better on Royal Guard than it is going to be on her. So that's something I might consider switching up. But Mother Cybele, that is how she's built. Lydia is built like this. So with Lydia, I might actually switch her up as well. So for the purposes of Hydra, she actually has too much accuracy. You don't need this much. She's got overkill on accuracy. I might want to crank her resistance a bit higher, actually. And apart from that, I've been very happy with her performance. But yeah, I might want to up her resistance at the cost of accuracy. That might be something cool. These are her masteries as well. I might redo her masteries at some point too. Haven't really thought about it too much. And yeah, then they're the only two legendaries, right? Then it's a bunch of epics, which is just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So first up we have, so this is my first Geomancer. You're going to see a second Geomancer here today. So he's coming in. He is tanky. Those are his stats. These are his masteries. He is in Deflection set. This is decent, but definitely not the best option here. Reflex set, Relentless set. I think these are better options. We could potentially upgrade him into that. Obviously, as well, getting more of these refresh banners would be absolutely huge. If I could get him into 3 refresh accessories, that would make a huge difference. In fact, they could even be 4 or 5-star accessories potentially, because he's got plenty of stats. At this point, he's not really dying, so that's something I'm going to be hopefully trying to do. That would be a good way to improve him. Switching up his gear could actually improve him quite a bit. Similarly, let's go to Royal Guard next. Similarly, my Royal Guard, as you can see, only has 1 speed set, and the rest is broken stuff. So there's a lot of room to improve Royal Guard. These are his stats. Getting him into a Relentless set would be the biggest upgrade. Savage set is okay as well, but Relentless set would be the way to go. And again, what we'd love to do is get him, you can see I just don't have any, get him into refresh accessories would be absolutely amazing. Unfortunately with him, he is more reliant on his accessories, right? He wants a 6-star crit damage necklace. Then he wants defensive stats on his stuff here. So that's going to be more difficult. But getting him into refresh accessories with a Relentless set to just get more takedowns out would be absolutely huge. These are his masteries. Then the 2 champions keeping us alive. Let's look at Ugo first. Ugo, she's got these masteries and she's in this gear. So there's actually quite a bit of room to improve her gear right here. And again, with Ugo, again, potentially some refresh accessories could be good. But certainly in terms of her sets, we could maybe improve her here. So she's actually a good contender for a Guardian set. I think that's something that I'm very much considering looking towards in the future. Guardian set. So I've got Guardian set, another champion I'm going to talk about today. gives you basically 10% more damage reduction for your whole team, and also healing every turn. I think that would be very good on Ugo, because if we look at Ugo, she has a tremendous amount of base HP, right? She's very tanky, she's very survivable, and that would be a very good way to get that extra damage reduction in for our team. I've seen a lot of people actually using Guardian set on Ugo now, so that's a good option. Relentless set is obviously a decent option, but again, I think investing your Relentless gear onto Ugo is not essential compared to putting it onto a damage dealer. But yeah, I'm considering re-gearing her into Guardian at a certain point, but that is her stats. And then we have Rector Drath, who's in sort of random sets, and I think that's good. We obviously have room to roll up a little bit of gear here as well. But for Rector Drath, I actually re-geared her slightly. I upped her accuracy at the cost of some resistance, unfortunately. Her accuracy is still a little bit low, just so that she could place her decreased attack with her A1 onto Head of Wrath a bit more frequently. So that's what she's doing, and she's fine. Yeah, she works well. She does her job. She's got, you know, resistance in the mastery, so she's gone for very defensive masteries, and I think that works as well. I could potentially do that with some of the other champions, but yeah, that's the setup for this particular team, and very happy with it. Let me show you the other two teams then as well, and where we went and how much damage we got total. Let's dive in. All right, so for my other two teams, well, what do we have here? We have some fun stuff happening in these other two teams, bringing in some champions for the first time into Hydra in my videos. These are a couple of champions I've been working on in the background. You guys might have noticed in some of my videos, I've talked about it before. I put up a couple of posts for the members as well talking about it too. But here he goes. Look at this guy. Who is that? That's Shamrock. Yeah, so Shamrock was the St. Patrick's Day fusion from a couple of years ago. Generally considered to be pretty bad, but when it comes to Hydra, actually really good, right? Now, unfortunately, mine is unbooked, but we'll see how he does without any books on, right? But what Shamrock's doing is giving us increased defense. He's also giving us increased speed, and he puts decreased speed on the enemy, and he can steal some buffs. You can see we have run into some issues here on this team. You know, Shamrock can steal some buffs, but he can't steal that many. So that is certainly a little bit of an issue with this particular team. But this was an interesting one. So unfortunately, my Husk doesn't quite have great gear on at the moment. I'm working on my second Royal Guard, but my second Royal Guard was not ready by this point. So I was trying to put together a team that could actually do some damage. We have Ninja in and a second Geomancer. Those are the two champions that are in here to actually do the damage, right? Ninja can ramp up. He's doing a lot of damage with Hailburn, and Geomancer doing the same thing as Team 1. Then we have we've got Demitha, and we have Godseeker. Godseeker is going to be reviving. Demitha is going to be doing most of our healing and keeping us alive with some block damage. And yeah, then we have, of course, Mithrala Lifebane bang in the middle, giving us an accuracy aura and doing a whole bunch of really good stuff. So this team is certainly not perfect yet. Sort of the issue that I've run into with this team is that because some of these champions are still very much in development, they're not fully booked up, they're not fully geared up and stuff like that. We did have some problems, but this Geomancer is actually doing some pretty fun things with his burns and whatnot, and you'll sort of see that happening. But how did this team do? If we sort of go ahead here, you can see this team actually comes out the end at, there it is. See Mithrala living to the end. We actually got 5.78 million damage. So this did okay, and you can see the stats. It's Geomancer really that's doing most of it. Bringing in a second Royal Guard here. As you know from the first run we did, Royal Guard would do a lot more damage than the Ninja. Or potentially I could re-gear the Ninja. Let's talk about that real fast. So how have I set up these champions? Let's talk about Mithrala first of all. She's brilliant, so good. I did a guide on her just a couple of days ago. She's in the same gear. These are her masteries. I've been very happy with Mithrala. She's amazing. Does a ton to keep your team alive. I think she's going to be even better on other rotations as well, where, you know, that Hex debuff is really going to enable you to deal with Head of Mischief when he's the worst thing that you have to deal with. So that's going to be really good. Who else do we have in this team? So we have, yes, of course, Ninja and Shamrock. Let's talk about Ninja and Shamrock. So Ninja, first of all. Ninja, I have put him into lifesteal gear, and honestly, it works okay, but for Nightmare Hydra, this is fine for lower levels of Hydra, but when I got up to Nightmare Hydra, I just don't have enough stats on him for it to really be relevant, for it to really be viable, I think. You can see these are his stats, so he's actually quite squishy. I have struggled to keep him alive, so I'm very much considering doing a big re-gear of Ninja, to ditch, like just say forget about attack, crit rate, crit damage, and that kind of sucks because so much of his kit from his passive, his A1, his A3, they really do well when you give him damage stats. But I'm thinking we just give him, a regeneration set, maybe really crank his defenses up higher, make him a tank, a fast tank. Yeah, just a very fast, very tanky character so that he can just stay alive and pump out as many hail burns as possible, because that is really where his damage comes from on Hydra. Hail burn does a ton of damage on Hydra. So yeah, we might redo him because of that. We will see. But that was Ninja. And then the man himself, actually, he's not fully leveled yet. Yeah, he's only level 59, but it's Shamrock. Shamrock coming in. Again, we have some room to roll up his gear, but you can see in terms of his base stats, very easy to get him to solid base stats here. I'm going to be trying to crank his resistance higher. He actually has plenty of accuracy. We'll see if we can get more resistance out of him. He'd be another good candidate, actually. A very good candidate for wearing a Guardian set, because he does have very good base stats. He's got great base speed. Like, his stats are there already. He doesn't really need any damage stats, so it's something that's certainly worth considering. Guardian set, Relentless set if you've got lots of spare Relentless gear. Anything like that, or just random sets, is going to work just fine. For his masteries, I have him like this. I am considering redoing it. If we look at the damage, like, he didn't actually do any damage even with War Master, because he doesn't actually attack that much. So I'm actually going to be redoing his masteries. I'll probably do a Shamrock guide when I have him fully booked out. But these masteries, wasn't impressed. I felt like all of this offense stuff actually did nothing. So what's the point? I think switching him into the defense tree, like Rector Drath has, maybe get him that increased resistance so he can start resisting Head of Mischief and bringing that utility to the team. I think it would be better overall. So yeah, I'm going to switch that up. Wasn't too happy with that. And unfortunately, he's not booked, which is going to improve him a lot. So he's stuck here at the moment with a 5-turn cooldown, a 4-turn cooldown. That stuff's really going to improve. His chance to steal buffs off the target is really going to improve. So yeah, when he gets booked up, I'm actually pretty happy with him, and I'm expecting to see his performance sort of grow. As just a champion, that brings us really nice buffs here. He also gives you Revive on Death and Healing when you're low on health, which is great. But yeah, just a consistent decreased speed, consistent increased speed. Having more uptime on those is really going to make him more valuable. But I'm happy with Shamrock so far, and I'm definitely going to be booking him and tweaking his build some more. So that was, yeah, that was a pretty fun one. That was pretty cool. My second Geomancer, let me show you second Geomancer. He's in a bit of a bad way, so he's not fully rolled up, and you can see, why was he dying so much? Because he only has 33,000 HP, 2,000 defense, so he's very squishy, but he's got good speed, he's got good resistance and accuracy. We just need to up his actual health a bit, and he's actually going in that Reflex set, which is awesome, right? Reflex set, potentially reducing Quicksand Grasp by a turn, really nice. That actually adds up to a lot. He's got pretty much the same masteries as the other Geomancer, so yeah, he is just in a situation where I need to roll up the gear, and then glyph the gear properly, and then see how he's performing. So his main issue right now is just a lack of silver. But I'm happy with him in Reflex set. I feel like that's really good, and I'm very happy with that. Then we've got Demitha and Godseeker in this team. So Demitha and Godseeker are pretty much in their same sort of stuff. So Demitha I'm happy with. She's doing well. Demitha is coming in with high resistance, a good speed, and she's doing her job. Does a lot of healing. She also tanks Head of Mischief decently often, resists his attempts to steal her stuff, which is great. Could maybe have a bit more resistance on her. She has Bulwark at the moment, which is good to reducing the damage all allies receive. Maybe I could switch that into, maybe just Unshakable would be better, just more resistance. So I might tweak that. To be honest, I might tweak that. But yeah, I'm happy with her overall. Does a ton of healing, really nice. The main thing with her is just being able to stop Head of Mischief stealing block damage, because if he does, that can get pretty bad. But she's fantastic. For Nightmare Hydra, really good for keeping your team alive. Godseeker, not super happy with Godseeker at the moment. She definitely needs some tweaks. Regen set is good, but as you guys know, I've talked about this before, her resistance, her accuracy, not really contributing anything, her crit rate, all this stuff, it's not really doing that much. So I'd like to up her, we could get her to like 60,000 health, be way better. Maybe 250 speed, something like that. Cranking those things up, committing to either resistance or accuracy and having at least one of those doing something on Nightmare Hydra would be good too. So there's definitely room for improvement with Godseeker, for sure. Yeah, like she's doing stuff, but it's not that significant overall. And there you go. That was team number 2. I think this team has good potential. Certainly just there's gearing problems for sure with multiple of these champions, but this is a good starting point. And then for the final team, I was actually As you can see, I was experimenting with a lot of different stuff for this one. I was trying out, Cythalia, trying out Archmage Helmet. I tried out for a bit, what's her name? I tried Melga, trying some different stuff. I think this was the team that we eventually settled on. So we can let this sort of roll out nearer to the end here. Yeah, there we go. So as it's sort of going, this was a bit of a funky team. This team didn't do super well. This was like some of my leftovers and a couple of fun champions testing out some pretty fun ideas at this one. So this was like the HP burn team attempt number 2. And I think we barely do squeeze through at the end. Yeah, we do, with 3.84 million damage. So we got there. And you can see most of that damage is actually coming from the man himself, Drexthar, just placing burns. This is a funky team. So what do we have going on? Number 1, this team is all legendaries. These are my leftover stuff. So what do we have going on here? Let's talk about the new guy first of all. Lord Champfort. So I've actually been pretty happy with him. Obviously, he still needs to be fully leveled up. He still needs some gear rolled up and some better glyphs and stuff like that. But in terms of his stats, he's got good HP. He's decent all around. You can see his accuracy is low, but with this team, I'm using the accuracy aura from Drexthar. Then he's coming in with these masteries. The issue with him is that he's not booked. So he has a self-shield. That wasn't really working, but we've got lots of shielding in the comp. But then Earthshaker is the big thing to bring him in for. AoE, decrease accuracy and decrease attack. It's on a 4-turn cooldown right now, which is quite long. Bringing that down to a 3-turn cooldown will definitely make a big difference. And yeah, help us to really survive and control the Hydra heads more. Decrease accuracy is the big thing here. Decrease attack helps us survive Head of Wrath. Decrease accuracy helps us again resist those poisons and especially resist the Head of Mischief stealing our stuff. So I think Champfort is a good one. Interesting thing here, you could have him be the distinct Head of Mischief tank because he gives himself a shield. But with this comp I put together, we actually have shielding from Brogni and from Sigmund. We have a lot of shielding, so that means that his passive shield doesn't make him the Head of Mischief target, but I just needed it to sort of stay alive. This team is basically here to stay alive and let Drexthar just burn them, which is kind of funky. So yeah, that was what was working there. For the other champions we had in there then, let's see who we have. So we have, let's actually go to Drexthar first, shall we? Where's Drex? So Drexthar, again for me, Drexthar is actually not booked. And that would make him much better, guys. Much better. Go from a 55% chance whenever we're hit to burn. That would go up to, what's that, like a 75% chance? That's a much better chance. That would be a big deal. Likewise, he's not booked on his other stuff, but that doesn't matter. But getting his passive booked would be huge. He's in a bunch of level 12 gear, actually, really. So his stats are like this. He's pretty good. So he's super slow, but it doesn't matter. He's got tons of resistance, and he's got good accuracy. And with his passive, he's basically able to resistance tank Mischief quite a bit. These are his masteries. I don't think they're particularly important, though. We could certainly switch it up if we wanted to. Like, you could put him in the defense tree if you wanted with the resistance mastery to help hit those stats a bit easier. And he could be in really whatever sort of gear. You just want to get his resistance and accuracy high enough and then give him enough health and stuff to survive. So that was an interesting one for sure. Who else did we have in with this team? We had none of these. Sigmund in pretty much the same build as the Sigmund guide. So Sigmund, he's nice and tanky, keeping us alive. He's giving us some nice shielding and strengthen. It's like Mithrala's move, but not quite as good. Her move is insane. This is still really good. He has the AoE decrease attack. And he also has some buff stealing, which is great for dealing with that Head of Mischief. So that is pretty cool. Then we had a fun little strategy here of bringing in Cythalia. So Cythalia is in here to remove buffs from enemies, right? Because I was bringing in 2 champions that do block debuffs, and I didn't have enough resistance on everyone. So what I needed to do was to have a backup to remove buffs from the enemies, which is what we actually ended up doing quite a bit with Cythalia. She also has a really good heal, so helping our team stay alive, even a HP burn on her A1. So her gear needs to be rolled up. As you can see, her gear, not great. She's got an unrolled helmet, but it's okay. In terms of her stats, she's doing decently. We're going to get her speed much higher when we roll that up. Then she's going to have solid resistance and good accuracy. And certainly when we combine that with this team, when it actually gets fully rolling, with Champfort giving us decreased accuracy, she's going to be very, very good there. So that should work pretty well. Then we have the 2 blockers, as it were. We've got Brogni coming in. Shield set, not good for Hydra. We could definitely re-gear him with that. He's coming in with these stats and these masteries. And he's really just there to sort of keep us alive with the shield and to do decent damage reflecting stuff with the shield. And then likewise, we have Tatura coming in. He's going to be giving us more block debuffs, increased defense, and perfect veil to help stay alive. Decrease accuracy, another source of that to slap onto the Head of Mischief if he can hit it. And yeah, you know, this team certainly lacks damage for sure. So when someone gets eaten, there's really not much you can do. That's what really kills this team, is that we've no real damage, right? So that's where we would want to change it. I think that the core of the team that works well, though, I'm definitely happy with Champfort. I'm curious to take him further. We could sub out some of these defensive guys to bring in like another Geomancer, another Royal Guard, something like that. And then, yeah, mixing it up. But Champfort definitely gives you a real good solid base right there. With that decreased accuracy that can let you bring in more of those block debuffs. But yeah, it's kind of that balancing act that's hard to manage. But 3.84, that's still pretty good. Like our HP burn team last week did 2.5 million. This did 3.8 million. It's, you know, it's not double, but it is like, what's that, 50% increase, which is a pretty decent chunk. You know, that's doing okay. It's doing okay. So in the end, where did we come? How did we end up? Well, we came out of it with itchy nose. We got itchy nose. That's the main thing. Got 24.96 million damage, which is enough to get the master chest. So we are there, guys. So going from the guardian chest, where we're getting, you know, 300 gold pieces for clan shop. We can get some 6-star and 5-star mythical artifacts, but the drop chances are low. We go up to the master chest, getting more like 400 gold pieces and much better chances for these mythical artifacts. So this is where it gets good. If we get up to grandmaster, it'd be more like 450 and even more 5 and 6-star mythical pieces. But that's quite difficult. That's quite hard. It's quite a big step up to go from 24 million to 36 million. That's still quite a ways away in rotation 4. I do think when we get around to rotation 1 and 2 and 3 and so on again, that it's going to be much easier. And yeah, we will see. Basically what I'm thinking now, we have, what is this, 1 week left on this rotation. I'm almost wondering for the final week, I might just go back and help out my clan for the final week, smashing down hard, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get any further really in Nightmare Hydra. I don't think that's really going to happen in this final week of rotation 4. I think getting this master chest is the best I can do, which is awesome, but maybe I'll go help out my clan, and then we'll come back in rotation 1, which is a much easier rotation than this, and we'll go into rotation 1, and then we'll be looking to see, well, first of all, can we re-reach the master chest for rotation 1, and I'm now very confident that we can do that. And then we'll be seeing, can we push up to that grandmaster chest, and what sort of teams can we make work? What are the viable strategies, and so on and so forth. And that will be much more doable as well as we keep going further. I finally am able to book some of these legendaries, getting my other Royal Guard up, that sort of stuff, getting some gear on them. That's all going to help. You can see here's an example of a 1-key team from McLovin. This is a really impressive team from him and what he's got going on, to give you an idea. So he has 2 Royal Guards in Relentless, really nice. Lady Kimmy coming in to decrease speed and decrease accuracy. Then Duchess Lilitu tanking it up. And we actually have 2 Guardian sets on Lydia and on Ugo here. So yeah, this is a really cool team by him. That's giving him the 1 key, which is super impressive. Super impressive. So that will give you an idea for a 1-key team. But yeah, there you go, guys. That was they were my 3 teams this week. Obviously, there's still tons of room for improvement, but I thought it would be enjoyable for you guys to see, like, okay, we did 14 million last week, coming in and really upping it this week by switching up our team, bringing in some new champions, and sort of theory crafting on what is working, what isn't working. I might actually put up the full runs for members as well. You can click the join button down below, like a Twitch sub, if you want to sub to the channel. I put out a small amount of members only content. It's mostly just if you want to support me and the stuff I'm doing. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I might put up the full runs for the members to watch the full runs, so you can sort of see exactly what I was doing and my restarts and stuff like that as well. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.